Today we're going to go ahead and play Diablo 4 on the Steam Deck, and to start it off I'm using 800p at the lowest settings. Going to options and the graphics, and here we are at 800p at the lowest settings. There we go. Let's jump into it and see what we can get. Alright, here we are in the dungeon. This is a great experience, to be honest. Overall, I played for a good hour I think. And I was playing at 60 FPS at a mix of medium to low settings with FSR enabled. And I was at a lock 60 at all times pretty much, which was fantastic. This game has FSR 2.0, but to be honest, it doesn't look the best once you go past the quality preset. You see a lot of, I guess, ghosting and smearing, which isn't a good look, even on the small screen of the Steam Deck. But so far though, we're sitting pretty much in the 60s, up into the 70s. In VRAM though, we do fall into the 40s and 50s occasionally. But if you use FSR, again, you can hold 60 at all times pretty much, even the 70s. And if you guys are wondering about how to actually install the game, you got to go in desktop mode, go to your browser, download Battle.net off the website, then you add it to Steam as a non-Steam app, use Proton to actually open it up and install it, and from then on, sign in and just install the game. For this video, I'm using Proton Diablo 4 Beta, which you can get off a third-party app that's on the in the desktop store. But yeah, the game just works fine, which is fantastic. This game is great on the Steam Deck. Has great controls, runs beautifully, and looks great as well. Got a lot of enemies on the screen at once, a lot of particles happening, and still able to hold 60 FPS. Okay, let's go and pause the game, use FSR 2.0, and see what we can get from it. I'm now using FSR at the quality preset. We are sitting in the 90s up into the 100s even. God, there's a lot of enemies here. A lot of enemies here. So we are sitting in the 80s, the low 80s. Leave me alone. Oh my god, there's so many of them. Do this real quick. I gotta heal up. Getting like 1 or 2 stutters here, but it's pretty rare actually. This game has really nice optimization. Okay, before we leave though, I'm gonna come back into the main town. As you guys can see, the game is far more CPU intensive here than it is in the dungeon. So we're now sitting in the 50s up into the 60s again. As you guys can see, in free roam, FPS is definitely lower. We are now sitting in the high 60s / the mid 70s instead of the 80s and 90s from before. Alright, medium settings. Here we go. No FSR obviously. And there we are. Sitting in the low 50s / the high 40s in the main city. Again, if you use FSR, you can hold 60 FPS pretty much at all times. Do we have any more enemies here? Wow, wow, wow. Getting very intensive in this section. But honestly, 40 FPS in this kind of game is still fine. The game feels responsive. It's not stuttering or lagging. It's perfectly playable. I think 30 FPS is pushing it, but it can be done as well at 30. But I think for me personally, I would go with 40 FPS. Ideally 60 FPS if I can. Look at all these enemies, dude. Low 40s. Yeah. That is pretty crazy. Using FSR, the balance preset. As you guys can see, definitely a quality loss from the quality preset into the balance preset. More smearing going on around the character, but we are sitting in the 70s now. Okay, let's find more enemies to kill. Where are you guys at? There we go. We're now sitting in the low to mid 60s from the low 70s. High settings. Here we go with that. There we go. And let's jump into it. Sitting in the low 40s / the high 30s in the main city. Getting a bunch of stutters as well. Not doing the best. Let's keep going and see what we get during the battles. I think there were a bunch on the right here. So let's go up here and then go to the right. There we go. There they are. The ghouls. Sitting in the 40s still. It feels fine, I guess. It's not bad at all. Falling into the 30s. Wow. Yeah, this is definitely pushing our luck at this point. Let's enable FSR one last time and move on to the optimized settings afterwards. Okay, now using performance FSR. Wow, 70 FPS as well. The smearing is very aggressive though. Very, very aggressive. I think the main issue at this point is the sharpness. It definitely looks a lot softer with FSR enabled. And finally, for the optimized settings, we're going with a mix of medium, low, and some to high as well. Using a facade quality preset, a bit with that, and the rest of the settings. There we go. We're sitting in the 70s in the main city. Definitely fantastic. Falling into the 50s occasionally. Let's go and head on out. Find some enemies to kill. And see what's up. There we go. A lot of ghouls on the screen. This is exactly what we need. Looks beautiful. Look at this stuff. A lot of enemies. And still able to hold 60 FPS with ease. Now, the one area that I've seen the FPS fall down below 60 is in the first city you actually go to. As you can see, we're sitting pretty much in the 40s and 50s. Heaps of players, heaps of AI. So the game becomes very CPU intensive and the FPS falls down below 60. But you're not fighting, you're just walking around here anyway. So for me personally, it's not a big deal. But yeah, once you actually leave that area with all the players, the FPS goes back up into the 60s, just like before. And for your battery life, it will all depend on where you are and what you're doing, and your frame rate as well. At 60 FPS, I'm getting like an hour and 50 minutes, up to 2 hours. But obviously, if you play the game at 40 FPS or 30 FPS, your battery life will be far better. And for the dock mode, we're playing the game at 900p, with FSR enabled as well at a quality preset. Alright, firstly, I'm going to go in the main city, falling into the 40s, 30s even. Yeah, the game is definitely very stuttery in this section. Not great, but with a more aggressive FSR preset, this will definitely be a lot smoother. Okay, let's leave this area, go into a fighting situation, going up into the 50s, very close to the 60s right now. Honestly, pretty good. The game looks good as well. And performance, once you leave the city areas, is very nice. So there we go. Diablo 4 on the Steam Deck. I think it's a great experience and quite easy to install as well. Okay, I think that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys next time for the next video. See you guys there.